This is Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times. I'm here with my colleague Justin Chang, and we're here to talk about a project we dreamed up that we're very excited about, and we hope to share that excitement. You know, people think that film critics, the advantage of being a film critic is that you get to see the big films early. But really, the advantage is that you get to see the films that most people don't have time for. The small films, the obscure films that are just as wonderful, sometimes even more wonderful than the big films. And we decided to compile a list of 25 of these hidden treasures that we've experienced over the past 20 years.
So yeah, we started at 1998 and up until this year, 2017. I think our newest film is from 2016. And it was such an interesting exercise. I mean, agonizing in some ways, as you know, Kenny, because, you know, I think the vast majority of films can sometimes be characterized as forgotten films because everyone talks about the blockbusters and the awards contenders, but there was sort of this where do we start kind of question, and yet when we, I think, went about it, we had, I think we had a lot of overlaps from the get-go, which was really telling, I think, you know, and we, you know, as anyone knows, we don't always agree. We sometimes do, and it's wonderful to see the ones that we agreed upon. So
yeah, no, this was a joint list. I mean, there was put together independently. There was an enormous amount of overlap.
Yeah.
And you know, one that I want to highlight is the oldest film on the list. It's from the 1990s, a whole other century. It's Love and Death on Long Island. It's a film starring the late John Hurt in a performance of his that most people may not have seen. He plays a really obscure British novelist, very high-tone individual who becomes completely infatuated with an American pop star, played by Jason Priestley. And the dialogue, the interaction, the situations are so funny that literally talking about it, I just want to run home and watch it again.
It's a delightful film, and I guess I will speak up for the newest, the youngest film on our list, which is Midnight Special, directed by Jeff Nichols. And I think Nichols is one of the most talented American independent filmmakers in recent years. It's certainly not the only film of his we could have put on this list, you know, with Take Shelter and Shotgun Stories, and you know, Loving was a, you know, not exactly a buried film, but Midnight Special is, you know, it almost bears not talking too much about what it is. It's such, you know, as you know, it's such a strange. It's like a road movie. It's a Twilight Zone episode. It's sci-fi. It's a beautiful parent-child love story. And as with everything on our list, I really wish more people had gone to see it, and I hope that they will get the chance to. And it's another great performance too by Michael Shannon, who's been, I think he and Nichols have had just such a remarkable collaboration.
Yeah, and it's the only film I think on our list that's released by a major studio, and even the power and might of Warner Brothers could not get this off the ground.
Make it a success, no.
And the other film that I think we both want to talk about jointly is the longest film on the list, great Italian film called Best of Youth, which sounds very daunting. It's 6 hours long, but you know, there are reasons why these 6 hours will go very quickly.
It goes so fast. I still remember, and Kenny, you know, your review back in, I think it was 2005 when it made it to theaters, you know, made a huge difference for this film. I still remember seeing it with a packed audience at the Royal that weekend, and just, it's, you know, it does something which I think is very hard to do, which is to show, to kind of interweave the personal and the political, and to do it in a way that doesn't feel forced. And it's so absorbing for 6 hours. It's, as you've noted, it's one of the great films, perhaps the great film made about the 60s. And the director, Marco Tullio Giordana, who hasn't done anything of comparable stature since, but this is such a special film, and it's on DVD, and people will see it. And you can, of course, look at our complete list and read what we think about some of our other favorites here at latimes.com.